Our true inheritance, as we are exploring this idea of awakening our soul and living life more fully, more deeply, what is this idea of our divine inheritance? According to Mark Nepo in his book of the soul, he says that there are four pathways to this awakening and deepening process. The first pathway is a pathway of living with greater awareness, and we talked about that last week, living with greater awareness. The second pathway being the pathway of understanding our divine inheritance. The third pathway being the pathway of widening our circle of concern and our circle of connection. And the fourth pathway being the pathway of supporting each other's spiritual awakening. That we're not in this alone, that we each can awaken and we can help others in the process of their awakening to their own soul, their deeper life experience. And so today it's about understanding our divine inheritance. And, when we think of inheritance in the material world, it's something physical, right? We are left an inheritance from a relative who has passed, or a friend who has passed, or a parent who has passed. It may be a lot, it may be a little, but it is a physical something that we are left. Well, in this context, we're not talking about anything material, not anything that somebody else can do for us or leave for us, but rather the idea of our true inheritance is an inner state of being. It's an inner quality, and it's something that cannot be given to us by anyone or anything external to us, but is actually a process of uncovering and discovering. And much of our spiritual journey, really, if we think about it, includes this idea of uncovering and discovering. For many of us, if we grew up in a more traditional form of religion and now find ourselves in this teaching, we may feel like we've got some unlearning to do, right? That we took on stuff, ideas, beliefs, concepts that we no longer resonate with, that just don't make sense to us. And so there, for many of us, is a process of unlearning, letting go of that, and discovering our inner truth, discovering who and what we really are. Nepo says, our true inheritance is a state of aliveness, wholeness, and interconnectedness. Aliveness, wholeness, and interconnectedness. It's not something external, but rather something internal that we explore, we uncover, we peel back the layers of whatever it is that's covering that up. When we talk about being the light, it's not that the light is in some of us and not in all of us. The light is in every single one of us. And yet, I think we can all agree that there are people that we meet in life whose light seems to be so incredibly bright, right? They have a way of being that just truly lightens up a room. And we can think, well, somehow they have more light than we do. And the truth of the matter is that that's not so. We all have the same divine light within. Some of us have just got layers and layers and layers of gunk over that light. And our spiritual journey, is a process of cleaning up that light. As I'm saying that, I'm thinking about a project at home that John and I are doing. So we've been in our house for about 10 years, and we've got a lot of lantern lights, at our driveway entrance and at our front porch, and they are dirty. And, we turn the lights on, and they're not very bright. And I thought, this is so much like us, right? We accumulate disappointments and societal expectations and lies and myths and criticisms and just gunk. And it covers us, right? It keeps the light that we are from shining through more clearly. And so we have to clean it, right? And for some of us, that cleaning might require some therapy that we go into. It might require some forgiveness work. It might require unlearning things that we were told about ourselves in church, that somehow we are less than, or the way that we were born is wrong, or that we were born in original sin, which is a lie. You've heard me say many, many times that you will not find the words original sin in the Bible. Did you know that? Original sin is an interpretation of the allegorical, not literal, allegorical story of Adam and Eve falling out of the Garden of Eden as one possible way of interpreting the fact that they did not listen to what supposedly God told them to do. Here's the tree of knowledge of good and evil sitting in the midst of this beautiful garden. You can have anything and everything you want, but don't touch that tree. If you're a parent, what do you know? The quickest way to get your child to do something is what? Tell him don't do it. Now it becomes tempting. And so the church, in an effort, I think, to control behavior, said that that is the original sin of man. And since we're all descendants, as the story goes, from Adam and Eve, since they sinned what? We are all born in sin. Why they forget that whole part in Genesis that says we are born in the image and likeness of what? God. Convenient amnesia. That is the truth. We are that light. We are that light. And a lot of our spiritual journey and awakening is a process first of learning that, owning that, embodying it, and doing whatever inner work, healing work, discovery work, exploring work that we have to do so that we can clear the gunk off of that lens, off of ourselves. So what we are naturally, our true inheritance, can shine through more fully. Nepo writes of our original inheritance, it's a return. It's a return. It's not something new. It's not something that wasn't there. It's a return to the promise of our birth before we experienced expectation or regret. It's an unencumbered spot, free of expectation and regret, free of ambition and embarrassment, free of fear and worry, an umbilical spot of grace where we were each first touched by God. The journey to this inheritance, he writes, involves undergoing many initiations. That's a very kind way of saying it. Undergoing many initiations to inhabit our gifts. It's about finding your own heart, what matters to you and why. Finding your own heart, what matters to you and why, and realizing your full potential. In discovering this inheritance, he says, let us live in the open by widening our circle until we can help each other stay awake. This idea of widening the circle and helping each other stay awake we'll go into next week and the following week. But how do we do some of that? What do we need to remember as we do this inner work? One of the things we need to remember is that we uncover and discover our true inheritance as we peel away the layers of conditioning and societal expectations to reveal our core essence. How many of you have had to do any inner work to transcend, to overcome the messages that you either received or took on growing up about who you should be and how you should be? Raise your hand. That looks like pretty much everybody in this room, and I would imagine the same might be true at home. That there's this process of peeling away the layers of conditioning or the things that we were told about how we should be, how we are. For the women in our community that are in my age group, We were told that there was a certain place that we were supposed to be in, a certain way that we were supposed to be, and that glass ceiling was a very real thing. I can remember when my mother got her first credit card without my father having to be the one whose name was on the card. Right? Right? Peeling back layers of things that we were told were the way that we could be, the best that we could be, and to say, no, wait a minute, there's something deep inside of me that knows that limitation is not true. That's not who I am. That's not who I am. I am something unique. I am something more, and I'm not going to let some outside cultural expectation tell me otherwise. Tell me otherwise. And so our journey of embodying our true inheritance is more than just simply saying, yes, I am this light, or yes, I am created in this image and in this likeness. It's also looking at what have we taken on that's not so, that we need to release. And this is why we have the practices that we do. It's why we emphasize the importance of a meditation practice, the importance of things like journaling, of being able to get quiet and peel back some of those layers and get clear with ourselves. It's why we emphasize in Unity that the best answers you're going to find are the answers that come from deep within yourself. And yet, what is the message that most people get when they are trying to figure something out? Most people begin the search where? Externally. Externally. There is and can be value in reaching out and asking others and getting other perspectives and points of view. But ultimately, we need to trust our own deep inner guidance. Can I have an amen to that? Amen. When we do, our life works so much better. When we do, our physical health is so much stronger. When we do, we will have an experience of wholeness and aliveness. We will feel like we are a round peg in a round hole, not a square peg trying to be forced into a round hole. And when together we can support one another in this honest expression of who we are, we will help to co-create a much better world for everyone. A world that we describe in New Thought as a world that works for everyone, leaving no one and nothing behind. The author Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "The only journey is the journey within." And one of my ministerial friends used to say, go within or go without. Go within or go without. Another piece that helps us to remember is that discovering our core values, not ones that we told should be our values, but discovering our core values is part of awakening our souls and embodying our true inheritance. It comes from knowing and living from the inner core of our being. What are core values? What are core values? Your core values, whether you have articulated them or not, your core values are the fundamental beliefs that guide your actions and decisions. Your core values are your fundamental beliefs that guide your actions and your decisions. It is your why. It is what motivates you. And some of the really important work we can do is articulating for ourselves, getting clarity for ourselves around what our actual core values are. Not the ones that we may have been told should be our values, But what truly are your core values? What truly is your why? What motivates you to be the way that you are, to say yes to the things you say yes to say no to the things that you say no to? What motivates you to stand up and find your voice in places that need to hear your voice? I remember first learning from Stephen Covey's work. I don't recall which book it was in, or maybe it was a lecture I attended of Stephen Covey, the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He said, if you really want to know what somebody values, what really matters to a person, he said, you only have to look in 2 places. Do you know what those 2 places are? Huh? I'm hearing a few different things. Your bookshelf, your eyes. What he said was, look at a person's calendar and look at a person's checkbook. Now I realize that we may not use physical checkbooks anymore, we may use digital. But what he was getting at is you will discover what a person values, and even yourself, what you hold to be really, really important by what lands on your calendar, meaning how are you spending your time? And when he says, look at the checkbook, he's saying how you spend your resources. You'll know what is really important to you. And then, of course, in a lot of his work, he suggests stepping back and making sure that it's right, it's deserving of your time, it's deserving of your resources. So what are your core values? How do you find your core values? You can find it by looking in those 2 places. I think it gives a little bit of a glimpse. And I can hear some of you saying, well, right now things are so tight that all that I am spending my money on are the absolute essentials. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's saying that you understand the realities of what my kids call adulting, right? You know, we need to be able to take care of ourselves, yes. And when that's done, then where are you voting with your time? Are you voting with your dollars? Other ways that we can look at finding what our core values are is to ask ourselves, what's really important to me? What do I really genuinely care about? What brings out the fire in me, the passion in me? What makes me really feel alive? What makes me really angry? I think some of what we're seeing in our country today as people are protesting and being angry about things is that beneath that anger, it's not always acted out very well, but beneath that anger, those individuals are in essence saying, there are certain non-negotiables that are important to me, and I am angry because I think that they are being jeopardized. Right? So we can look deeply at where do our emotions really become strong? Emotions of anger, of passion, of love, of joy, of aliveness. And as we peel that back, we're going to be able to better identify what it is that really, truly matters to us. We can also look at the role models that we admire. When I use the word role model, take just a moment. Who comes to your mind? And just hold it for yourself. Who comes to your mind? And then ask yourself, why do you hold them as a role model? The reason, when you ask why you hold them as a role model, you will be discovering in part what it is that's important to you that also lives in you, because you couldn't see it in them if it wasn't also in you. But you'll get a clearer sense of what really matters to you. And as I said before, pay attention to your emotional responses. It's going to give you a clue. When we know what matters to us, we will be living out of our uniqueness and out of our natural divine inheritance. One of these final ideas I want to share with you in terms of what we want to remember to be able to experience and embody this divine inheritance has to do with authenticity. And we've, probably because of Brene Brown's excellent work, the idea of our authentic self is much more in the popular culture today, talking about being your authentic self, about communities being authentic, about businesses being authentic. Authenticity is tied to, or is a very important key part of our soul awakening. When we are not being authentic, we are layering stuff over our soul, and that light is not going to shine very brightly at all. Who are you really is what it means to be your authentic self. What makes you you? The very thing that makes you you may be some of the stuff that you were told not to be. I think of the many gay and lesbian friends I have and I have known who were told not to be who they really were. The soul has no sexual orientation. It has no color. It has no political orientation either. And if you believe, as I do, and as many people do, that our soul is eternal, it has been here before, and it'll be here again. If you believe that, as I do, then guess what? Chances in an infinite universe are really good that we're going to come back in all different forms. Breathe into that one for a moment, right? Breathe into that one for a moment. Embracing our authentic selves is key to awakening our souls and embodying our true inheritance. What makes you you? What makes you you? When you're stripped of external expectations and societal pressures and the masks that you wear or were told you have to wear to fit in, who are you? When no one's looking, who are you? One of the things I value so much about unity is that we really stand solidly committed to helping people be their authentic selves. To knowing that that light shines through each and every one of us. And when we encounter someone whose light might seem to be very dim, and might even be light that causes us to want to pull away because maybe that light's shining through someone that feels like sandpaper to our soul, right? That it's only because there's something wounded there, there's something hurting there, and that what is needed is our love and our compassion and our understanding, not our judgment. This work is not for the faint of heart. The work that we do inside of ourselves is the most important work we can do, not only for the healing that happens as we do it individually, but also because of the inspiration it extends to others of what is possible. What any one of us does and is capable of, all of us are capable of. Carl Jung said, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." Oh, darn. I think he's right, though. I think he's right. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. Why would he say something like that? I think he said something like that because the peeling back of the armor that we have taken on, we've taken the armor on to try to protect something inside that got hurt. When we peel the armor away, when we take the armor off, we're going to touch that pain. And pain doesn't feel good. We're going to touch that pain. But eventually that pain will stop hurting. But it will not stop hurting until and unless we do that inner work of taking that armor off, being willing to touch the pain that it has been trying to protect us from, so that we can then feel it and move beyond it. Joseph Campbell wrote, "The privilege of a lifetime is being who you are." Let's stand together. Let's absolutely stand together in supporting the people in our lives to be their authentic selves. And let us stand solidly in our courage to be our authentic selves individually. It's how we transform lives, and it's how we heal our world. Namaste.